Hi everyone. This is a quick video that will show you how to integrate agent AI agents from Clay. And this is while I'm showing you how to invoke these agents from Clay, you could be using any other product. Uh, the main functionality I want to show you is how to set up the agent to be called via a webhook and to do this asynchronously. And the reason for this is that a lot of times the agents that we tend to build are long running agents. They could run for a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how much research is being done in the agent and agent AI. And platforms like Clay have a timeout. And so if you make a synchronous call to an agent, which is basically I make the call to the agent via the webhook or the API, and then the calling process, in this case, Clay, will wait. It'll wait for the response to come back, and once the response comes back, it will automatically display it in Clay. And that is a synchronous process. I make a call, I wait, and then I show the response. Now, the challenge is that Clay has a 1 minute timeout. And so if your agents tend to be longer than a minute, then Clay will time out and throw an error, which then kind of breaks the flow of the process in Clay. And so the question is, how do I then handle long running agents? So in the past, what we've done is we've taken agents that tend to take a long time and break them into smaller agents. And then we basically are calling one agent after the other, which is not an ideal design process. It's more like we're designing our agents based on a limitation. So Agent AI introduced the ability to call an agent via webhook asynchronously. And now in asynchronous, what happens is you make a call to Agent AI agent via the API. It immediately sends you back a run ID, which is an identifier which tells you this is the kind of agent execution ID. And then at some point of time, you can then call back Agent AI with the GET request and the ID, and it'll give you the response back. And so let's say it takes 5 minutes, you can basically do that. And so the thing over there is the standard implementation of Agent AI to handle asynchronous calls is a polling mechanism. And what I mean by that is you got to write something that basically one makes the call asynchronously, gets a run ID back, and then it's polling Agent AI to be like, are you done? Are you done? Are you done? And so you could be polling every minute, every 30 seconds. At some point of time, Agent AI will, and so as you're polling, Agent AI will keep sending you status 204, which basically says, I'm still working, I'm still working. At some point of time when it's done, Agent AI is going to come back and say, I'm done, and that's a status 200, at which point you know that it's done. Now, the challenge is that Clay does not support natively any way to do polling. And so, what that then means is that I need to go manually run the get process from Clay. So I need to set a timer or I need to come back after a few minutes and then click the button, which again, defeats the purpose of building an autonomous uh, engine, go-to-market engine that basically makes the call from Clay to Agent AI. Whenever the response is done, it just picks it up. Um, Now, Clay has an ability to set up a table as a webhook, which basically is that Clay table will be listening on a URL. And so then the question is, can Agent AI actually make a call back to a callback URL? And so this is not natively supported in Agent AI, where you cannot, when you call an agent, have the ability to automatically just define what a callback URL is. Um, and so Max was kind enough to give me a very brilliant workaround where he was like, why don't you just pass the callback URL as an input variable to your agent and then do an invoke HTTP API from your Clay agent, which will then bring this back. Now, these are all extremely advanced concepts. So if you are getting started with Agent AI or getting started with Clay, this video is not for you. This is definitely an extremely advanced video for those of you who know how to build agents and are really trying to uh, make a call from a platform like Clay asynchronously in an autonomous way. And so I'm going to start showing you some of this. So I have a very simple agent. It takes the name, title, executive, and the company of an executive. Uh, it then goes, does a Google search on that particular uh, topic, and then it does does a Google search, Google News search, gets the result back. Then it compares the two, and then it basically returns and says, for this particular executive, is it better to use Google News data or is it better to use Google search? Um, and that's what the agent does. So that's kind of, and again, this could be any agent. It doesn't really matter. And so the first thing I'm going to show you from Clay is um, how to make a call to this. And so the way you set up your agent to be called via webhook is you have this trigger up here, you click edit, and you'll notice immediately you can check the webhook, and then it tells you uh, you can make a post to this, pass this as the variable, and then once it's done, if you make a call to this API then with the get, then it'll give you the response back. And so that's how you set up uh, the agent AI agent to be called as a webhook. And so once you have this post and you know what the variables are, and then you have the get URL. So these are the two URLs you need to know. In addition, you need to go to your agent AI and get the bearer tokens for authorization and stuff like that. Again, there are videos which will talk about how to basically make an API call that you can go watch to do that. So once my agent is set up here and I have those URLs that I've copied, I can go to my Clay table. So I've set all of this stuff out. And so this is my first uh, Clay table. Here you notice I have what I want to send, which is Tim Cook, CEO Apple, is what I'm going to send it. This is my agent AI async post, which is going to make a call to that particular agent. And so the way you set it up over here is you go in, you say that the method is post, this is the endpoint. Um, you then pass in the body the topic, which is the variable. So why this is useful is I could load like 100 executives and it's going to make 100 calls from Clay one by one. And then, at some point of time, they'll all be done and my table will keep working autonomously. I have certain other things around headers, around the content type and the authorization that I need to pass the bearer token. But that's pretty much how you set up. And again, I'm assuming you know how to make an HTTP API call from Clay to any particular platform. And so when you do that, so here, let me now do, let's say I say Elon Musk, CEO Tesla, and then I tab off. So what is going to happen is immediately you'll see I made a call. It came back with a response of 200 and it gave me my agent AI run ID. And then when I make my get call, which is the async call, you'll notice it says status 204, which is basically saying that we are still processing. And currently, the way kind of it natively works is I've got to keep waiting and then keep pressing this. It's going to try again. It's going to either it's done or not. It's not yet done. And so, as you can imagine, if this is going to now take me 2 minutes to run, I got to keep pressing this button, or I have to implement some kind of middleware which in between Clay and Agent AI, which is adding another platform and adding more complexity, or I could write code in Replit or whatever it is that basically makes a call and then is basically I've built a polling function which is doing what I'm currently doing, which is keep pressing this run button. And you'll now notice that was done. I got a response back, and this is how I can set up Agent AI to talk to Clay. Now, the problem with this approach, as I was saying earlier, is that I need to go keep clicking on this manually, or I need to go implement another third-party tool middleware that will go and implement this polling functionality. And I want to make this simple. I basically want to only use Clay and Agent AI. I already have two platforms, which in my mind are middleware. Why do I need a third one? And so how would I do that? And so that's kind of what I'm going to show you is that I now have another agent set up in agent AI. So I'm going to go back here, click on, that was my test new search async. It's exactly the same agent. Again, I've set up the webhook and it's all the same. The only difference is now instead of just taking the topic, I also take a callback URL as input. And then what I'm then doing is I basically, once I'm done with my process, I make a REST API call from agent AI back to that callback URL with the output. And so basically what's happening is Clay will pass me the variables that I want, which includes the name of the exact title company, and it'll pass me a callback URL because Clay has the ability to set up a table as a webhook. And for that webhook table, it exposes a callback URL, which is basically Clay's way of saying that I'm going to be listening on this URL. Whenever you're done, if you call back to this URL and post the data, I will then go listen. And that's the polling functionality that Clay has set up. And then what you'll notice is then it just makes Agent AI is making the web API call to that callback URL, and then the response will come back. So now if I go back to my Clay table, this is what I have now set up. This you'll notice what I'll do here is I'm going to say same thing, Elon Musk, CEO Tesla. When I tab off, again, same thing will happen. The first async call here very quickly goes, makes a call to agent. Yeah, you already saw this for the other example. There is a run ID here. What I then do is I have another table, which is my Clay webhook table. And so if I go here and look at this, anytime I set up a table as a webhook table in Clay, it gives me this callback URL. And so if I go back here, what you'll notice is that I am passing that callback URL as a variable to agent AI, and this is what agent AI then uses as a variable to then make the HTTP API call. And so if we go here and we go look here, what you'll notice is I'm basically passing this. I'm doing a post call to my callback URL, which is a variable, and then it posts it back. And so what you had noticed here in this particular table, which while I was showing you the other one, is you noticed it came back, did a side-by-side summary coverage. This was the run ID. It then goes. So the next question is that if I am uh, making a call from one table to agent AI and the response comes back to another table, how do I then get all the other data that I've probably done enrichment on in my original Clay table? And so what you can do is just look up single row on this run ID. And so you'll notice it went and it said, oh, that was the Elon Musk CEO. And this is the side-by-side summary that the agent returned. Again, highly technical, highly complicated. Uh, to really understand this video, you need to understand Agent AI really well, Clay really well, webhooks, API calls, asynchronous API calls, synchronous API calls, all of this. But if you are watching this video, chances are you already know a lot of those basic concepts and you're trying to do this one single thing and you're wondering how to do it. So hope you find this useful. If you have any questions, obviously ping me, uh, put a comment on the video and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you.